Hello, my kangaroos. Welcome to Rue Likes to Review. I am Rue. Warning, there will be spoilers. 1973, American Graffiti. Premise: it's the end of 1962 summer in a small town in Northern California. Kurt and Steve are leaving the next day. However, Steve is having second thoughts as Kurt can't wait to leave. Kurt and Steve spend the last night with their friends. Our main characters are Kurt, played by Richard Dreyfuss, and Steve, played by Ron Howard. This is George Lucas's second film he has ever made. Since the movie is considered a low-budget movie, George Lucas did not have the budget to pay for all the actors. So we're talking about the behind-the-scene actors, the unnamed actors, and the scenes. So instead of paying them, he said they would get credit in the credits, and they agreed. If you are wondering what is George Lucas's first movie, it was THX 1138. In the beginning of the movie and throughout the movie, Mel's Drive-In was a real restaurant, but after the movie it was demolished. However, in 1981, the owner's son reopened Mel's as a small chain. George Lucas still eats there from time to time. Here is what it looks like today. Three characters in the movie represent George Lucas's three stages of his life. Kurt represents his personality during college. John represents his teenage street racing years and his junior college years. John is played by Paul Lamette. Terry represents his nerd years as a freshman in high school, even more so how bad he was at dating. Terry is played by Charles Barton Smith. This is a goof they left in. Charles really crashed, but he stayed in character, therefore that's why it's still in the movie. The movie soundtrack consists of 41 songs from the 50s and 60s. What you won't find is any Elvis songs, because Colonel Tom Parker, Elvis's manager, was too hard to work with. I don't speak Italian, so I am not going to even try to say this movie title. Anyways, George Lucas was inspired by this Italian movie from 1953. Carol, played by Mackenzie Phillips, who was 12 years old. Her parents put her on a plane with a suitcase and no legal guardianship or any arrangements for living during filming. The producer took over her guardianship and she lived with him during filming. The film was shot in sequence. This was done so the actors would really be tired as the film went on. The budget for this film was about $750,000. The film grossed over $115 million. This film is among the most profitable films ever made. It is believed that being in this film, Ron Howard was cast in Happy Days. That is false. Ron Howard filmed the pilot for Happy Days and be in this film at the same time. Speaking of Happy Days, the character John was inspired to create the character Fonzie on Happy Days. Mark Hamill auditioned for a part. He didn't get it. But what film did George Lucas cast him in? Oh yeah, I'm just joking. Of course I know. George Lucas' next film, Star Wars: A New Hope. This scene with the sock hop was shot in one day. Harrison Ford first turned down the role because of the money. He was offered $485. So they offered him $500 and he agreed. They wanted him to cut his hair. He refused and said the hat will cover his hair. The cowboy hat was Harrison Ford's idea. The '55 Chevy that Harrison Ford is driving is the same car used in the movie Two-Lane Blacktop, which you can check out my review for Two-Lane Blacktop after this review. This guy talking through the window is Joe Spano. Later he would play NASA director in the movie Apollo 13, directed by Ron Howard. This was a goof that was left in. The water balloon was supposed to hit the window and John acting mad. Instead, the water balloon hits Carol right in the face. Mackenzie, who plays Carol, couldn't stop laughing, and Carol and John ad-lib the whole scene. This is Wolfman Jack, a real-life disc jockey. George Lucas specifically wanted him in this film because he remembers listening to him in high school. George Lucas was grateful for him being in the film, that Lucas gave a percentage of the film's earnings to him. It was enough money for Wolfman Jack to live in comfort for the rest of his life. Rating time: 1 being the worst, to 5 being the best. I give 1973 American Graffiti a 5. Why give it a 5? This film is a lot of fun to watch, and I never get tired of watching it. Thank you for watching my review of the 1973 American Graffiti. I'll see you kangaroos in my next video.